report, Tempestor?
The Void Scythe surface scans have confirmed a newly activated energy source on Site 4. The enemy have secured the location completely.
The loss of the site is an unfortunate setback, and the appearance of the Xenos further complicates matters. Have the Thousand Suns continued upon our position here?
Scans confirm that an armored contingent continues to make its way here. We can expect contact within a few hours.
The protection of this stronghold is critical to my operations. We cannot allow these heretics to gain access to the other sites. Your men will hold this location, Tempestor. They will hold it until reinforcements from the other sites can get here. Is that understood?
Yes, Lord Inquisitor. And will your own men also provide support for this operation?
My personal guard are not your concern, Slade. All your lives here belong to me, to better service the light that is the Emperor of mankind. You are thankful to serve, aren't you, Tempestor?
Yes, Lord Inquisitor.
Good. Because I have something that will assist our endeavors here. I've been waiting to unleash it for some time, and that time is now.
Welcome back to CM9. Here, in the forward operating base of the Endonian Genome, the main military stronghold here on CM9, the base that they fell back to after losing Site 4. We can see that Hector Slade himself has recovered, manning the battlements here. Jonas Barrett also present, Sevatar Malachi down below, and the ferryman himself being repaired, it seems, within this Imperial stronghold's walls. Meanwhile, as we pan across the horizon here, we see Uraeus Karnek, and we see his second in command, Anutet Hazik, have advanced towards this battle line, and they are here to not only crush the Endonian Genome and the inquisitorial presence here on CM9, but to drive through their very walls and base to get to Site 3. Site 4 now has been taken, claimed by the Thousand Suns. Deadly and powerful runes have been cast, a portal has been opened, and it cannot now be closed. It is time for this battle to commence. Let me lay this battle plan out for you. momentarily. So the mission parameters are as follows. In mission 3, the rules, as are all of the characters that we have seen rise and fall here in Ghostmaker, they're all available for free via data slate download on tabletoptactics.tv. So you'll find all of the updated experience and rules for these characters, because some of them have gone through a couple of battles now, mainly the Thousand Sons of course. But let's talk the rules here. So here we have a custom Imperial fortification. We've called it the Imperial Stronghold. We've charged 400 points for this in this campaign. It does have 12 heavy bolters. They're not automated, they must be manned. And the building has a ballistic skill of 4+, so they will not be taking advantage of the Tempestus ballistic skill of 3+. But as you can see down below here, guardsmen are literally manning the heavy bolters. Very, very cool here. The ferryman looking on. Now this does count as a model in the Imperial forces here. This is a 2,000 point game. The ferryman, or any models for that matter, not embarked on this Imperial stronghold cannot shoot through it. It counts as line of sight blocking. Okay, they're not allowed to shoot through it. So the ferryman currently cannot target the Thousand Sons from through those gates there, because narratively and realistically it wouldn't make sense that he would blow apart his own gates. So that is not what's happening in this game. However, anyone on the walls or embarked in the Imperial stronghold, if you like, can be shot at and also can shoot at the enemy. However, if you're embarked, you do have a 5+ invulnerable save. Toughness 9, 20 wounds. Toughness 9, 20 wounds for the 2 wall sections. Toughness 8, 10 wounds for the gate section. Does have, of course, additional rules such as explosions if it comes to that. But nonetheless, as you can tell, the Thousand Sons will need to breach at least one part of the structure if they are to break through the lines. And that is exactly what they must do. The Thousand Sons in this mission do have first turn. The Tempestus may not seize the initiative. Furthermore, in order to aid them in their breakthrough and represent Uraeus Karnek's legion of Thousand Sons automatons that he brought to CM9, any troops units and dedicated transport units can be returned to the battlefield after being destroyed. Troops units on a 2+, dedicated transports on a 4+. And if they both roll successfully together, they may arrive inside the transport, so they become recycled. Full details of that are available via the data slate. But in summary now, the mission parameters for the Thousand Sons are any Thousand Sons units in the frontline deployment zone, so that's this half here. Any Thousand Sons units there will get a victory point at the end of the game. Any Thousand Sons units in the second half of the table here, the second line deployment zone, will get 2 victory points at the end of the game. It is variable game length. First Blood and Slay the Warlord are also in effect. But what do the Tempestus need to do? Well, of course, the Endonian Genome, under the authority of Sevatar Malachi, must stop the Thousand Sons Tide from breaking through. They must stop them from reaching Site 3 at all costs. They cannot have another one of these Xenos ruins falling into enemy hands, and they do not want to find out what it is that the Thousand Sons are planning on doing with them either. So it is simple. For every enemy unit destroyed, it is worth 1 victory point. That is all they must do. Hold the line. The question is, will they? Let's find out. It's Thousand Sons turn 1 coming up next, and the Tempestus may not seize the initiative. They are coming. The Thousand Sons Legion has moved towards the Imperial strongholds. But deep within the base, on the flanks, the Scarab Occult Terminators have arrived. Dangerous times here. The Endonian Genome barely recovered from losing Site 4, also known as the Site 4 Massacre in their history books. Will they survive the wrath of the Thousand Sons psychic phase? Who knows? The Legion themselves, the troopers, have not deployed yet, obviously using the rhinos to make their way towards the gates, whilst the predators will offer them covering fire. Question is, will the predators engage the gates, or will it engage the wall sections? Who knows? Remember, they cannot target the knight, but likewise the knight cannot target them. The only viable targets are the troops, the gate section, or the wall sections. Let's find out what happens. Psychic phase coming up next. We are mid-psychic phase here. We couldn't not show you this. This had to be shown. Anutet Hazik unleashes a devastating torrent of psychic energy towards the gates of the Imperial stronghold. So just as a little reminder, folks, remember this is all one model. However, it has 3 separate profiles based on what's being attacked. Now, because, as per the Smite rules, can only target the nearest enemy model, that technically speaking is the Imperial stronghold. However, we do allow him to select which part of it he can attack. And he has, of course, chosen to smash down the gates. Will Anutet be successful? So, is it Smite first?
Smite first.
Smite.
Goes off.
Does go off. Does go off, cannot be denied.
Worth mentioning, from mission 2, any doubles rolled, he will suffer perils of the warp. He has gained +1 strength, attack, and toughness.
Yes.
But with great power comes great potential death.
That's right.
So any
some
doubles,
devastating salvos in the last mission.
Yeah.
As a result, he's had some side effects. Okay, here we go. D3 mortal wounds. Just the one. Okay. Just the one mortal wound against.
But a flesh wound.
The gate. So it's got 9 wounds left now.
Yep. So Infernal Gaze next.
Infernal Gaze.
Warp charge 5.
Goes off on an 11. He was doing a lot of that on the smites in the last mission. Okay.
So
will he bring down the gate? Infernal Gaze.
4 ups and mortal wounds.
He's done another 2 mortal wounds there. The gate now reduced to 7 wounds. You can imagine the psychic energy battering the gates here. The Endonian Genome powerless against it. As they look on in horror against this ancient legion marching towards them.
Yeah.
Okay, are we going to go straight on to the warlords?
Yes. Uraeus next, so he's going to start off with Smite.
Uraeus. Also on the double 6 is the opening salvo from Uraeus here. Uraeus Karnek. The eye. Oh no. Does he keep that? Does he unleash tremendous power? D6 mortal wounds against the gate.
I could take the gate off, but I will... Oh god.
Or does he attempt to control his power?
Do I re-roll it? It's +1.
Keep it.
I'm going to have to re-roll it.
He's going to re-roll one of the dice.
I can't risk,
so
I
he
can't risk
does use
losing
a command point in this phase. Right, it's still a 10, but guess what?
+1.
+1 because of the Eye of Karnek. That is a special relic. You see these kind of special characters in the campaign. Still getting an 11. Still doing D6 mortal wounds.
Yes.
Okay, but without any side effects on himself. He truly is a master of the warp. How many damage wounds does he do? 3 more. 3 more. So this gate's now got 4 wounds left on it as it is assaulted twice, 3 times with 3 different powers, 3 different sorts of dark energy smashing against it so far between Anutet and Uraeus there. Okay, so
last power.
Final power.
I'm using a power from chapter approved.
Ah, okay.
This is Tzeentch's Firestorm.
Okay.
This is warp charge 7. Just gonna roll that first and I'll tell you what it does. +1.
+1. That's it. The Eye of Karnek saves him again. Okay, so it goes off.
Okay.
And what does this do?
So I roll 9 dice.
Yes.
And for every 6, it's a mortal wound.
Wow. Okay, here we go. He's got 2 6s. Very nice. That's another 2 mortal wounds down, leaving the gate on only 2 wounds left. The end of the psychic phase. So, team, that is the end of the psychic phase. Scarab Occult Terminators, their aspiring sorcerer, also unleashing a torrent of smite energy, killing 3 of the command squad. That's right, 3 of them. The bannerman has fallen, the plasma gun fell, as did the Voxcaster. Meanwhile over here, on this flank, the aspiring sorcerer attempted to take out some of the acolytes that surround and protect Sevatar, but rather appropriately the Inquisitor turns. He was already expecting them. He denied the smite.
Yes. Such a bad man.
And then you've seen what happened here to the gates. They are dangerously damaged now. Both Slade and Barrett look across the top of the gates at each other. They know what's about to happen. They must brace themselves for yet again another storm. It is the shooting phase coming up next. Let's see what the Thousand Suns can do. We are nearing the end of the shooting phase here. A lot has already happened, but of course, as I've said previously in the previous missions, we'll always film some of the highlights of the shooting phase, some of the significant things that can happen. The Predator, the first of the twin Predators here, is now opening up against the structure. The twin las cannon on the turret is going for the gates, whilst the two sponson las cannons are going for the left wall structure here from the Thousand Suns point of view. So which one are we opening up with first?
We'll do the twins into the gate first, I think.
Okay, twin las cannons. Remember, these Predators did not move. That is a double hit. The gates are one less toughness than the main Imperial stronghold. They are toughness 8. It's got 2 wounds left. Here we go. That is 2 wounds. Exactly what the Thousand Suns wanted. However, it does have a 3+ armor save. So he will be getting 6 up saves here.
Isn't it 1 wound?
No, because the las cannons are strength 9 and the gates are toughness 8, remember.
Sorry,
but
I thought las cannons were toughness 8. Strength
8. No,
yeah.
no.
Cool,
Okay.
that's fine. So 2 6s, yeah?
2 6s are
Do it in my
required.
sleep. Okay.
It's a 1 and a 4. No, that does mean that the gate is destroyed. Now, the gate doesn't have any rules for exploding, unlike the actual wall structures, but the gate is now destroyed.
Whoa.
Smashed down to the ground, exposing the ferryman and all targets behind it. The Thousand Suns have penetrated the structure. Right, we have 2 more las cannons now going into the wall. 1 is a hit. It will be forced to wound this time. Is a wound. We'll get a 6 up save on the wall structure.
I was getting my dice off the table because it looks so nice. Yeah! Yeah!
The wall holds. Now for the final unit that will shoot this shooting phase before I summarise what's happened here on CM9. This Predator firing through the breached gates of the Imperial strongholds straight into the ferryman. It should be said that he did employ the stratagem from chapter approved at the beginning of this turn. Well, when he was targeted for the +1 save to his iron shield. So currently the Tempestus Inquisitorial Force has spent their first command point. Here we go. Complete whiff.
The ferryman.
Oh.
It's like what happened. He looked at the ferryman and just realised that death was coming.
And with that marks the end of the Thousand Suns turn. I like to think that that Predator, despite missing all of the shots, I like to think that the extended ion shield of the ferryman, obviously it came out a little bit wider than it normally does, and the shots just harmlessly punch off of the shield, and the ferryman stands undamaged. Incidentally, both Scarab Cult Terminator units here flanking the ferryman did launch their Hellfire racks, their missiles, into the ferryman, but they either failed to wound or, in the case of one of the missiles going through, potentially penetrating the hull, his ion shield did save him. Combi bolter fire came in heavy and hard into the units here. However, the extended cover that being embarked on the Imperial stronghold afforded them meant that despite the -2 of these combi bolters, they all survived. So no more casualties from the walls here, which is good. However, unfortunately, the command squad gunned down in its entirety, first through the machinations of dark warp energy, and then finally by the Reaper cannon itself, gunning down the medic in inglorious fashion. Meanwhile, over here, this unit, despite the Aspiring Sorcerer being denied his power by Sevatar, their combi bolters and Reaper Cannon did find the mark, and as a result, the forces of the Thousand Suns have secured First Bloods. They wiped out one unit of Acolytes here and have taken 2 more from the other squad also. Nasty stuff. Then, all of the combi bolters fired did manage to kill one of the soldiers. Actually killing one of the casualties was removed from behind the wall here. But the Rhino combi bolter fire, generally speaking, pretty ineffectual, as you would expect, of course, against this fortification and the troopers inside it. And that was it. You've seen what the las cannons have done from the Predators. They have claimed First Blood here at 1,000 Suns, here on CM9, and that marks the end of the shooting phase. I'm not sure if there is potential for a charge phase. I'm not sure if the Scarab Occult Terminators are in range. Let's find out. Big events potentially unfolding here on CM9. We are in the charge phase. In fact, they are exactly 11.5 inches away from Sevatar Malachi himself. The Scarab Occult Terminators are a threat on this battlefield. He is declaring a charge. Sevatar himself does not have a ranged weapon, as I recall.
No, he uses the warp and his fist.
That's all he uses. So, to charge Mr. Beard, Uraeus Karnak himself will require the roll of an 11.
And it will be done. Or not.
It's a 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he's failed. He could, of course, he could still attempt to reroll one of them, but it would not be enough.
I'm not going to.
So, he's already used a command point this last turn in the shooting phase. I didn't mention it. He used a command point to try and get a bead on the ferryman here with one of the Hellfire racks, but it was to no avail. So, Mr. Uraeus Karnak has how many command points left now?
4.
For the 1,000 Suns, just 4. 4 command points left, while the Imperial forces have 6. Still all to play for. Still all to play for. It is Militarum Tempestus, the Endonian Genome, turn 1, coming up next. The movement phase for the Endonian Genome is complete. They have stood fast, holding the walls here at all costs, despite the felling of the gates just beside them. The ferryman has been activated. The pilot finishing his cigarette, flinging it aside as the assault begins, manning the ferryman war machine, and of course stomping forth to try and protect the flank here from the Scarab Occult Terminators. Meanwhile, over here, a new horror has become present on the battlefield. The Calexus Assassin, servant and agent of Sevatar Malachi. The Psychic Blank has been deployed, has revealed his presence here to protect, I should say, its master, not his master, against the Scarab Occult Terminators over there on that flank. Will the Tempestus be able to lay down enough heavy firepower, 12 heavy bolters at their disposal here, against the forces of the 1,000 Suns, or will their walls be breached next turn? We will have to find out. Sevatar, of course, also a master of the warp. He does have a psychic phase, and that's coming up next. We are in the psychic phase here, and we thought it would be remiss to not show you what Sevatar does to those that surprise him. So Sevatar Malachi casting Smite against the Scarab Occult Terminators here. Does go off on a 9, however, can be denied by the forces of the 1,000 Suns.
You will get a -2 on this denial because of the Calexus Assassin.
That's right. Whoa. Servant of Malachi. 6, 7, 8, 9. Would have been very close to a denial, but no. Malachi's power is too much. D3 mortal wounds, 2 mortal wounds against the 1,000 Suns. One of the Scarab Occult Terminators erupts. All is dust. And so here we are at the end of turn 1 for the shooting phase for the Militarum Tempestus, the Endonian Genome and the forces of the Inquisition. And look, the Scarab Occult Terminators are still standing after a brutal round of fire from the Ferryman, his rapid fire battle cannon exploding into the Scarab Occult Terminators, the plasma overcharging here, also firing at the Terminators. Their orders keeping them in check with the re-rolling of the ones there, but despite that, the invulnerable saves and the armor saves of these Scarab Occult Terminators saved them every single time. Extraordinary stuff. Over here on this flank though, they were not so lucky. As you've seen, of course, Sevatar opened up with the smite power, did down one of them, the Calexis Assassin, and then more hotshot lads rifle fire from the Acolytes and some plasma fire over here managed to drop 3 of the Terminators and put the one with the Hellfire missile rack on 1 wound. So just 2 of the Terminators left there by the Sky Shield landing pad. Meanwhile over here, all of the heavy bolters opening up against rhinos. This one reduced to 6 wounds, this one over here reduced to 9 wounds. The melter guns not quite in range to open up against the rhinos down below. So overall, the shooting phase not tremendously effective. The Thousand Suns are within enemy territory. They are able to continue their advance, potentially get right onto the precipice of the wall section next turn. Before that though, there is of course the potential of charges. Can the Ferryman, can the Calexis Assassin, or perhaps even Sevatar himself finish off the Scarab Occult Terminators deep within enemy territory here? Let's find out. It's the charge phase coming up next. We are in the charge phase, and because it is critical that the Endonian Genome clear their house, they must get rid of these Scarab Occult Terminators in their lines. We thought we would show you these rolls. Charge has been declared. The Ferryman into the Scarab Occult Terminators. Here we go.
Inferno combi bolters first.
Does get 2 hits. Would need 6s again. He does get a wound, and it is -2 on this weaponry.
Yep.
The dark magic of chaos infusing the bolts. He does indeed chip away a wound from the Ferryman as he stomps towards them.
That's what you get.
The Soul Reaper cannon. Will it reap
Souls?
what the Ferryman is attempting to sow? Here we go, no hits there. Then we have the Hellfire missile rack. No, so the Overwatch is done. Did indeed chip away at the Ferryman, but he shrugs it off, stomps forward. He needs a 6 to charge. He gets a 5, 6, 7. That will be a successful charge against the Scarab Occult Terminators. Now we move over to this flank, and Sevatar himself declares a charge against the Aspiring Sorcerer and the remaining Scarab Occult Terminator. Overwatch.
Nope.
No hits.
The missile rack? No.
No hits. Can he make the charge? He also needs a 6, incidentally. 5, 6, 7, 8. He does make it. Sevatar charging the Scarab Occult Terminators. Interesting. And then the Calexis Assassin, his Agent of Death. Will he make it? He needs a 9 after appearing from the shadows. No, he does not make it. So that's the charge phase. It's the fight phase coming up next. We're nearing the end of the fight phase here. We thought you'd want to see what Sevatar does as he charges these Scarab Occult Terminators. So, attacks, he's got 4 of them. He does have a Power Fist. So -1 to hit. He's hit twice. His strength is 6, I believe, with the Power Fist.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, so he'll be wounding on 3s. That is 2 wounds. Okay, it's -3. So, you have to do these saves now. Vulnerables, he makes both. A 5 and a 5.
This is going to hurt.
The Scarab Occult Terminators stand strong. Sevatar has proved himself a brutal combatant in the first mission, but will his days now be numbered?
Yes.
Scarab Occult Terminator strike back. Who's striking first?
So we'll do the power sword first.
Okay.
So 2 attacks.
Doing the Hellfire missile launcher. That's one hit. That is a wound.
It's -3. It's power sword.
Now, it should be mentioned that Sevatar has a -1 to hit, but that will still be a hit anyway. And of course a wound, because he's got a special relic called the Night Field. Can he now save? No, that is a failed armor save, but he does, or does he, has he got a 3-up save or a 4-up save?
Let me double check.
Okay, let's check that. Otherwise, if he only had a 4-up save, that would have been for his Tenacious Survivor Warlord trait, and that would have been a fail, and would have taken a wound from him. 4+.
Save,
okay, so that was the Tenacious Survivor save. That's failed. Sevatar is indeed wounded by the Scarab Occult Terminator. The Aspiring Champion now, or the Aspiring Sorcerer. What is he using? A staff?
He's using the staff, yeah.
Okay.
So 2 attacks, hitting on 3s.
It's a -1, but he still hits on 4s anyway, so that's fine. Because of the Night Fields that Sevatar has.
It's +2 strength, so this is...
So your strength 6, meaning you're wounding him on 2s now. It is a 5. He is wounded, and it's a multi-damage weapon.
Yeah, it's D3. It's -1.
-1, so he will get a 5-up save against this. He does make it. Sevatar does stand. He lives, but he has been wounded and failed to take any wounds back from the Scarab Occult Terminators. The Ferryman has claimed his tally. The entire unit of Scarab Occult Terminators destroyed. Stomped to the ground as the Ferryman came across here, weathering the Overwatch fire and destroying them utterly. His battle lust has still not been slaked yet. It will be Thousand Suns. Turn 2 coming up next. The storm is about to hit the walls of the Endonian Genome base. 4 rhinos have moved forward, but not before 4 units of Thousand Suns led by their aspiring sorcerers, headed up by Anutet Hazik and Uraeus Karnek. What a sight it must be for these troopers standing on the battlements. The predators, of course, remaining in the background there, covering fire, pelting across the battlefield. Be interesting to see what targets they will go for, because of course the Ferryman now cannot be targeted here. He's behind the wall, therefore out of line of sight of the predators. Likewise though, next turn, don't think he'll be able to bring his fire to bear against them either. However, these predators could unleash death against the walls, potentially bring another down. Dangerous times. Let's see what happens. It is the psychic phase coming up next. We are mid-psychic phase here, and I thought that perhaps it would be best to show you this. Anutet just cast Warp Time on the rhino that was here, and before the very eyes of the Tempestus, the rhino dissipated into dust and reappeared here, past the broken gates. Now he is going to cast yet another power. What are you casting?
Infernal Gaze on this unit.
Gaze. Attacking the unit in the battlements.
Warp charge 6.
Jonas Barrett looks on. It's a 10. It is a success, but it is a double. And as a double is rolled here, it is a Perils of the Warp.
I'm going to use a command point.
As per his experience. Okay, he uses a command point.
Better.
9, which does successfully cast without a Perils of the Warp, because he was touched by unnatural power after the last mission. Okay, so there we go. It's part of the campaign experience table there. You can get more details on his data slate. Right, so now, what happens to the unit?
So 3 d6s, any 4s is a mortal wound. 1 mortal.
Right, 1 mortal wound. 1 is slain from the battlements there as psychic energy lashes out against it. Any other powers?
From him, no. I'll move on to him.
So it will be Uraeus Karnek next. Uraeus, the Eye, now will unleash his psychic potential against the battlements. So, what is he casting, Joe?
So we'll do smite first into the walls here.
Yep. So, fortification is indeed smitten. It's an 8, a +1 through his relic, the Eye of Karnak. Becomes a 9. He does 1 mortal wound against the fortification. 19 wounds left. Now, the walls are far stronger, of course, than the gates. Next, power.
Right, I'll be casting Zeech's Firestorm on this unit.
Okay, so Melter Gun units, Jonas Barrett telling them, screaming at them to hold as the Firestorm takes them. Does he cast the power?
Yes.
4, 5, 6, 7, he does. Okay. Any rolls of 6s on these 9 dice, favoured of Zeech, and it will claim troopers. Yes, 1 is claimed. Another from that unit, dying horribly in the burning fires of Zeech. Those are the 2 heads of the Thousand Suns. Their powers cast. The dice has been rolled. The fates have spoken. The rest of the Legion must now open up. We will come back to you at the end of this phase. We're mid-psychic phase. We thought you would want to see what the Scarab Occult Terminator aspiring sorcerer does to Sevatar. He does attempt to cast Smite. He rolls an 11.
So would it be a 9 though with a -2?
Right.
Because of the Colexus Assassin.
The Colexus Assassin -2 does make it a 9. So therefore he will not get the D3 mortal wounds. He will just get the 1 mortal wounds because the aspiring sorcerers from the Thousand Sons of Legion have a modified version of Smite.
Of course.
Can
I'm going
deny.
to deny it.
Sevatar himself
Sevatar. No.
does fail to deny, so he does receive a mortal wound, but he can, with Tenacious Survivor, deny it on a 6. No, so Sevatar loses another wound. He's got 3 wounds left remaining now. He is stubborn and tough. End of the psychic phase. The warp storm dies down. The gate's still breached. One of the rhinos now penetrating the base proper. Times are looking dangerous for the Endonian Genome. This structure in particular on the left flank of the Thousand Suns Legion has been pummeled with psychic energy, losing 5 wounds across the smites from Karnak and of course the 4 units of Thousand Suns. Remember, counting this as all one structure, so he could choose which part of the structure he wanted to smite. Right now, it will be the shooting phase coming up next. One of the walls damaged, the one with Jonas Barrett looking after it. The las cannons on the Predators primed. Could we see the felling of another wall, or will he pummel the firepower into the infantry manning it? Let's find out. Shooting phase coming up next. 2 Predators here, and Joe has indeed declared that he will be shooting at the structure, the Imperial stronghold. Obviously 1 Predator first, opening up here. We thought you'd want to see this. Rolling to hit. All 3 las cannon systems. Obviously the twin las cannon counts as 2 shots at the structure. 2 hits. It is toughness 9, so it is 4s to wounds. He's got 1 wound, and it's a 3-up save, so 6 is to save the wall here. No, so it's D6 damage.
Oh, it's a cock dice.
Okay. 5 wounds down. That leaves it with 10 wounds left. This wall cannot fall, surely. Is the second Predator opening against it? A maniacal grin from Joe, the Thousand Suns commander in this campaign. 3 hits, 4s to wound. It's a wound again, but only the one. A 6-up save. Will these walls be breached? It's a 3 D6 damage. 5 again. No. That leaves the wall with only 5 wounds remaining. Extraordinary stuff here. The Predators not finding the ferryman as a target, hidden behind this part of the wall. This wall now severely damaged. It will not be able to take an assault like that again. And the men standing on it, if it was to explode, could all be in deadly peril. Let's see what happens. We'll come back to you at the end of the shooting phase. That is the end of the shooting phase. Brutal Inferno bolt fire here has slain all but one of the Endonian troopers on the battlement. Slade looking on in horror as his elite troopers are brutally cut down before him. Meanwhile over here, more rapid firing from the Thousand Sons have seen a number of the Jonas Barrett's troopers cut down before him also. The combi bolters on the rhinos also helped bring a number of the models down. And right now on the battlements, strewn across them, perhaps falling off of the edges here, are the butchered dead, taken apart by the dark rounds of the Thousand Sons. It will be the charge phase coming up next, and I have been reliably informed that Uraeus Karnak will also be attempting to do a charge. Let's see what happens. Charge phase coming up next. We're in the charge phase, and charges have been declared. The rhinos being used as assault battering rams here. This one smashing into the wall, declaring a charge. But remember, this all counts as one structure, and as a result, every single manned heavy bolter, although I believe this one is not manned, is that correct?
That's correct.
But all of the rest, as the guns can draw line of sight to the rhino charging, that's how we're counting it in this campaign, can fire Overwatch. So it's a ton of dice. We thought you'd want to see it. So let's see if you can strip some hull points from this vehicle as it goes through. So 6s to hit. He has scored a few hits there. 5 maybe by my counting. Yes, 5. Okay, is 5s to wound. Does get 2 wounds there. So now, -1, the rhino will get 4 up saves. Does indeed strip another wound from this one. This one's on 8 wounds now. And he cannot fail to charge. So in he goes. There you go. Smashes. Right, smashes right into the wall. And my understanding is, Joe, you wish to also charge with this rhino, is that correct?
Let me just clarify the distance I need.
He wants to charge over here. Now he would still make this charge, of course, but remember he can roll his dice and move over here if required.
So I have a question now. So can I, because I'm technically in combat, can I still fire my bolters? Because it's a fortification?
Yeah, here's the thing. So technically speaking now, because we counted it all as one structure, no, you cannot fire the Overwatch anymore.
Will I be able to fire next turn, or will I just be caught in combat?
Yes, no, you're able... Actually, excuse me. Let me take all of that back. In the rules that's written, because we're borrowing some of the existing fortification rules, you can always fire even if you're in combat or within an inch of an enemy, which also means yes, you can Overwatch, so ignore everything I just said. Because of course it wouldn't make sense, it's a fortification.
Yeah.
That's what it's designed to do.
That's why I would double check.
Yeah, so the guns can now Overwatch against this. What is the charge range that you need to get over to the part of the structure you wish?
1 + 9.
It's not going to matter because
1
he's not
+ 9.
going to make it. He's going to die. And then he's going to explode.
Send him back to the warp. That is an incredible amount of shots that have hit there. You can imagine the guns blazing, the barrels running red with heat here as they stream firepower across the battlefield into that rhino. It's an extraordinary roll, folks. This one has only got 6 wounds left. Could be brought down, 5s to wound, he gets 3. Okay, so it will not be destroyed. It is -1. He does fail another save, that is 5 wounds left. Now let's see if he makes it to the side of the structure that he wishes to.
For Uraeus Karnak.
It's an 8. No, he doesn't quite make it, but he does still make combat because he can move it into here if he chooses.
I'm a little bit closer, that's all I want.
Okay, so he smashed into the side of this wall now. Okay.
Is that one going to have a punt?
Is that one charging?
Why not?
Yeah!
Okay, so it will also get to fire the Overwatch here. We're showing you this because it's just so epic. All of the heavy bolters unleashing against these rhinos. 2,000 Suns. Just 2 hits this time. Extraordinary. Okay.
No wounds.
And no wounds. Okay, does it make the charge? Yes, it does. With that roll, you go straight over the gate and smash into this side of the wall.
That's so cool!
And then we have one final charge that I believe is being declared. Is that correct?
Yes.
Uraeus Karnak himself against the Endonian troopers. Yep. 3 melter guns and their sergeants with Jonas Barrett behind. So,
cool. So the sergeant's got a
guns.
pistol, so he won't be in range,
Pistol
but the
range, no.
melters will be.
Okay. A melter has hit Uraeus as he hovers up to them. It's 2s to wound. It is a wound. It is a wound. Now, is he in melter range? I don't think he is.
He's a 7-inch charge.
Right. Now, you do have an invulnerable save.
Yep.
He will need to make that now because it's -4.
For each.
He makes it on a 6, insulting Uraeus. Now, can he make the charge? 4, 5, 6, 7. Will that be enough though?
Yes, I measured it.
But can you place him in base?
It's here.
Oh wow! Oh no! He's made it into combat. However, we did remeasure. It looked a little long to me.
Cheating!
Actually, in order to make it up onto the parapet, because you can't land him in mid-air, he needs to be able to actually make it.
Should be, he was on a disc.
Yeah. So in order to get within an inch, he's actually going to need a 9. Is what he's going to need at that angle. We just measured up from here. Can he make it?
Using a command point.
Okay.
On the 3. Oh.
Oh.
So close.
Doesn't quite make it.
So close.
Got an 8 in the end, needed a 9. So Uraeus Karnak will not make combat this turn, although it seems that if he survives the Tempestus next turn, he will almost definitely make it in. Is Anutet going to charge?
Yeah.
Anutet, what?
He's a 9.
Slade?
Yeah.
Wow.
Showdown.
Attempting to charge Slade here.
No
There we
Overwatch.
go. No Overwatch.
Being a 9. No.
No, he does not make it. Okay, so both units have failed their charge there. The Rhinos have made it in. We'll come back to you at the end of the fight phase. Dangerous times here as the Thousand Suns smash into the wall structures. They fail to damage them at all. And then Sevatar interrupts the combat. 2 command points spent here
Well played.
by the Tempestus. That leaves you with only 2 left, if I remember correctly.
4. I've only used 1 command point. Have I used 2?
Okay. I thought you were on 4 left, but I could have made a mistake there, so that's fair enough. In any respect, you have just spent 2 command points here, and you've certainly spent 1 before, so that's 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 left. So now Sevatar will strike first, interrupting the Thousand Suns here.
Oh god.
3 hits.
3 hits. It's hitting with a power fist, hence the -1.
2s now.
It's 3s to wound.
3s to wound. Okay.
So 2 wounds. 2 wounds there at -3. Saves will have to be done one at a time actually, because one's on 1 wound. So he does fail his save, and the other also fails his save. It's D3 wounds now against the aspiring sorcerer. It is 2 wounds. I'm assuming he only has 2 wounds.
Correct though.
Sevatar destroys both of the Scarab Occult Terminators, including the sorcerer. He has held the flank.
Yes, back to the warp!
And that marks the end of the turn. Unfortunately, this trooper, morale breaks despite the presence of Slade. Hector Slade there does not save that trooper, and he flees the battlefields. So now, currently, the lines of the first deployment zone, the front line of the Tempestus, has been breached by 1 Rhino. It is now up to the Tempestus to see if they can stop this tide from coming at them. Perhaps the ferryman will help. He is relatively undamaged. They still have all of these heavy bolters at their disposal, but things are starting to look dire. The pressure is very much on as we enter turn 2 for the Militarum Tempestus, coming up next. Movement phase turn 2 for the Endonian Genome is complete. Whilst the emplaced heavy bolter crews, the troopers are standing fast Jonas Barrett has brought down the remaining troopers here, and Slade himself has of course descended the ladders here, and the ferryman has come to support at the order of Slade. This gap must be stopped. The rhinos must not be allowed to be used as mobile assault battering rams, smashing deep into enemy lines. They must stop this tide before it overwhelms them. Calexis Assassin hiding in the shadows underneath the Sky Shield landing pad. Sevatar Malachi also coming out there as well, with the 3 acolytes advancing before him. So movement is done. There will be a psychic phase. Let's see what Sevatar does. That's coming up next. Just in the psychic phase, only 1 power to cast. It is Smite. He will cast it against the forward rhino here. Does fail to cast though, on the roll of a 3. So that marks the end of the psychic phase. We'll get back to you. The end of the shooting phase coming up next. Mid-shooting phase, and the ferryman is about to speak. What is the target allocation of the ferryman?
Right, so we're going to put the heavy stabber into this lone remaining aspiring sorcerer.
The rest of the Thousand Suns automatons obliterated by the heavy bolt of fire from the walls.
And then I'm going to put the Avenger, the bell cannon, into here.
Yep.
I'm going to put the melter, just to be sure of it, into here as well.
Okay.
And then that's it. That's all the guns.
Okay. So here we
heavy
go.
Stabber.
Heavy stabber on the aspiring sorcerer. Does hit three times. Falls to wound. Does wound twice, but it is damage 1, so the aspiring sorcerer, he doesn't get the same rules as the Thousand Suns, does he? He doesn't get the add 1 to his save, is that correct?
Let me check.
Okay. No, apparently it doesn't specify that the sorcerer doesn't have it, so here we go. 2+ to save. 6 and a 4, he makes both. The sorcerer does survive. We then have...
Let's do the melter.
Melter.
It's a hit.
It's a hit. 3 to wound.
No wound.
It's a failed wound.
Cool.
And then rapid fire battle cannon.
So 2d6 shots.
Well, double 6.
Okay then.
The ferryman clearly angered by the breaching of the lines here. Hitting on 3s. Many hits scored. And wounding on 3s. All but 1. Wow, extraordinary here. 7 wounds against the already damaged rhino that's only got 5 wounds left. It's -2. So 5s and 6s are required to save the chassis. Fails 5. It's only got 5 wounds left, so no need to even roll for the damage. Does it explode?
Yes, yes! Oh.
He rolls a 2, so he fails to explode, but kills one of the Thousand Sun miniatures in the process. That's the end of the shooting phase. I can tell you now that the melter guns here, remember there was another rhino here in this breach, and the melter guns completely obliterated one of the other rhinos. The ferryman, as you just saw, also destroying a rhino. This one still damaged, this one completely fresh. The heavy bolters from both sections of the wall unleashing against one unit, killing all of the Thousand Suns, but the aspiring sorcerer does remain alive. So that marks the end of the shooting phase. It is the charge phase coming up next. Let's see what happens. Charge phase is done, and we're going straight into the fight phase, which we thought we'd show you. The ferryman charged the rhino, made it just. Now he's going to use the new relic chainsword from chapter approved. So roll to hits.
So I can reroll 1s with this as well, which is quite nice. Okay,
just
there we
as
go.
well. So shows off the upgraded ferryman here. 4.
2s to wound, because I think I'm currently like...
Strength 16.
Strength 16, yes.
I'll do it.
3 wounds.
Okay, cool.
And the minus?
4.
Right, so he doesn't get a save. And is it flat?
Flat 6 damage.
No save. Flat 6 damage. Then that rhino is destroyed. On a 6, it blows up.
Blow up! Damn it!
No, it's a 1. So the rhino destroyed 3 rhinos that attempted to smash through the lines here, destroyed at the end of the turn. There will be a morale check for the sorcerer. We may as well do this on camera for you now as well. Rolls a 1. That will mean that he is alive. No issues there.
Not always bad rolling a 1.
No, it's 1,000 Suns. Turn 3. The game is coming along now. Coming up next, they still technically don't have any units now in the first line deployment zone, frontline deployment zone. And remember, whilst they have got first blood, and whilst they have done some serious damage to the Tempestus line, in actuality they do not have any scoring units in the enemy deployment zone. Let's see what happens. Turn 3 for the 1,000 Suns coming up next. However, before we move on to 1,000 Suns turn 3, turns out that the Rhino to -3.
Not -4.
-4. Okay, so he does get to potentially save on the roll of 6s.
All I need is 2 6s.
All he needs is double 6.
Oh.
No, he doesn't make it.
So he's a command point.
Okay. He uses a command point.
Damn it!
Oh, he wanted to save
so
the
sure
Rhino.
that was going to happen.
How many command points does that leave you with? Believe.
I think it's
only
1.
1, yes. 1 or 2. We'll calculate that off camera, but it is 1,000 Suns turn 3 coming up next. End of the movement phase for 1,000 Suns turn 3. Anutet and Uraeus have indeed embarked upon the structure now. They've both flown up here on their discs of Tzeentch. 1,000 Suns ominously, silently continue their march towards the first line, front line deployment zone of the Endonian Genome. The Predators, of course, in the background remaining static. They do have clear line of sight to the ferryman. Perhaps he will be marked for death. We will have to see. There will be a psychic phase coming up before then, and don't forget this structure here is severely damaged. But before that, as per the special rules of this mission, destroyed units that are troops or dedicated transports can be brought back on. So actually he's only lost he's lost the Rhinos, but he's not lost any 1,000 Suns units yet, quite. So as per the sustained assault rules, because it's borrowed from them in the Warhammer 40,000 rulebook, he gets to bring back the dedicated transports on the roll of a 4, 5 or a 6. So here we go. No.
Yes.
No, does not return. Does not return. 222 equals a 6, but not a single Rhino returns to the battlefield. We're mid-psychic phase, and we thought we'd best start filming this. All 4 units, well, 3 have cast, and 3 wounds have been taken from the structure. It's got 2 wounds left. We have 1,000 Suns Aspiring Sorcerer left before the main characters cast. Also goes off. That is another mortal wound. It's got 1 wound left. This structure, times are looking dangerous here for the Endonian Genome. We have 2 characters left, Anutet and Uraeus himself, the Mouth of Magnus and the Karnak the Eye. Will they bring down the structure? What are they going to be doing now? Psychic phase here.
So Anutet, partially to bring down the wall, but also vying for power, whilst Uraeus is on top of the building, is going to cast Perils. Perils? He's going to cast Perils!
And he may indeed Perils.
He's going to cast Smite on this.
Oh no. Smites! 6, 7, 8, 9 goes off. Incidentally, 9 is favoured of Tzeentch. There is no attempt to deny.
There is now. Are you 24 inches away
from him? Are you 24 inches away from Anutet?
Most definitely.
Sevatar Malachi.
Yeah, of course.
You are not.
No,
24 inches is here.
Oh, it's on his disc.
It's not. That means it goes off. It means that the fortification is destroyed. There is no need to roll for the mortal wounds, anyway. But the damage, right, would have been 2. It's destroyed.
So on a 6, I take everything with me.
It blows up 3d6 inches as the magazines explode.
I saw it for a second.
Right, this part of the fortification does not explode Could have been an extraordinary result there, but it doesn't explode. However, units embarked upon it do suffer damage and are killed in their just like being in the transport on the result of a 1. So
there's 10 in there.
There's 10 in there, manning the heavy bolters. Any ones? No, they all escape in time.
Yes.
No doubt Jonas Barrett's screaming at them to abandon the walls, and they do survive. However, Uraeus Karnak rolls a 6. He's okay.
He just stays on his disc floating in the air.
The wall has fallen, exploding around the troopers, who quickly disembark and then scramble back over it. Basically 3 inches from the structure. Uraeus landing there, and you can see smoke and rubble is all that's left of it. Complete and utter destruction on that side of the structure. Meanwhile, more powers over here from Anutet. What is he casting?
He's going to cast Infernal Gaze on the ferryman.
On the ferryman. No, that would be a failed casting there.
Interesting.
You see his power was used to bring down the wall, but that was it. We then have Uraeus himself.
Yes, we do.
What is he casting?
So he's going to start off with Smite on this unit here.
So
even with the
+1,
but
the plus one will make it.
Does
so just.
Yeah.
However, he is in denial range.
He should be.
Sevatar Malachi just needing a 6 or more here, and he does deny.
Yes.
He does deny the Eye of Karnak. Wow. Okay, and what other power?
He's going to go for Tzeentch Firestorm.
Tzeentch's Firestorm, and is that on a double 6 is a perils.
Oh dear!
Double 6 is the perils. Okay, he's got 1 command point left.
Ah, God!
Does he use it to change the tide of the warp once more?
Yeah, I kind of have to.
Okay, so he rolls.
My last one.
A 6! Uraeus has played with the warp.
The only time he's rolled a double 6 in his life, and he gets perils.
So, as a result, he takes D3 mortal wounds. It obviously won't be enough to kill him. Wow. It's just the 1 wound, so Beard goes back to his...
Back in the game!
So, that leaves Uraeus with how many wounds left now?
He has 6.
6 wounds left, because he has the Dark Fortitude Warlord trait, plus with his campaign experience, he had +1 wound anyway. So he's remarkably tough. But now, Tzeentch's Firestorm does go off, and that was on this unit, is that correct?
Does my Warlord trait allow me to... Because I can ignore wounds on a 6, that include mortal wounds?
Yes, it does.
6.
Oh! Oh!
Go off.
Extraordinary abilities here. Uraeus Karnak will not have the warp hurt him. Wow.
That's very funny.
So, now what we have is, of course, Tzeentch's Firestorm. He needs more 6s.
Needs more 6s. Give me some more!
Get more.
No,
Not a single one.
I've used them all up.
He used them up, just protecting himself from the devastating powers that he summoned. So that marks the end of the psychic phase. It will be a shooting phase next. The Tempestus lines truly breached here in terms of the defensive line. Will they now be able to make a significant enough stand? As we come into the later turns of the game, still the shooting phase ahead. The Predators looking at the Ferryman. I have a feeling that this will be significant in terms of the tide of war for the Thousand Suns. Will they be able to turn it in their favour? Let's find out. The shooting phase coming up next. We're kicking off the shooting phase, and we're actually going to film the Predators here for you, because Joe is starting with them. Uraeus Karnak issues the order. The Predators are firing at the Ferryman. So, opening with the first Predator, however, a stratagem is being employed, is that right?
Yes, the stratagem from chapter approved.
So the +1 invulnerable save, or +1 save to your ion shields. Yep. So the Ferryman has obviously put more power, diverted the power from his systems to his ion shields up. Let's see if they can hold. Can he be hit first of all? Predator number 1. Las cannons blasting across the battlefield, that's 3 hits. Strength 9. Toughness 8. 3s to wounds, it's 2 more wounds. The Ferryman still sitting on 23 wounds here, but 4+ ion shield saves for the Emperor. 1 does go through, punches through. Can it do significant damage to the hull? 2 wounds, not bad. Ferryman's still on 21 wounds here. That is acceptable. Next, Predator, rolling to hit. Las cannons, 3 of them score hits there. 3s to wounds. It is another 2 wounds on the Ferryman. 4+ ion shield saves. The Emperor protected 1, d6 damage. Another 2. Another 2. Remember, the 1,000 Suns command points completely depleted now. 19 wounds left on that Ferryman. Not yet degraded, still fully operational. Slade and Barrett barking commands to their troopers. Will they stand long enough to survive the coming storm? The rest of the shooting phase coming up next. And that marks the end of the shooting phase. Lots of Inferno bolts spilling across the battlefield here, tearing across the battlefield, taking a number of casualties. This squad here in the ruins, I think 5 of them in total were gunned down in the end. Uraeus as well, capping one with his dark bolt pistol. Over here, a couple more of the Genome troopers cut down. Meanwhile, this squad, of course, because they can't be targeted behind the wall here, are completely unaffected. But overall, the Tempestus still stands despite a significant blow to their military structure here. Will there be a charge phase? There will. Okay, who will be declaring charges?
So this sorcerer will be charging this unit here.
Okay.
And then Uraeus will be charging this unit.
I see.
This unit of rubrics will be charging these guys.
Right.
And then this fella
Undeterred.
will be charging the unit down here on the bolters.
I see. Very interesting. And you can see the unit down here. You can see this one. So therefore...
Also, sorry, this rhino is going to charge this unit here.
The Rhino charges the Acolytes. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll get back to you at the end of the charge phase and then get straight into the fight phase. That's coming up next. The charge phase is complete. Overwatch complete. Anutet not suffering any wounds, making his charge down here into the units. However, a heroic intervention has been declared by
Slade.
Yes, Slade's Reapers. Ooh.
The Reaper himself has come to play. Meanwhile, over here, Uraeus did successfully charge. However, he did take a wound on the way in from the vicious onslaught of Plasma Overwatch. Meanwhile, this unit failed its charge, and the aspiring sorcerer, the lone survivor from the 4,000 Suns unit, was gunned down by the Melter as he attempted his charge there. Rhino did successfully make it in against the Acolytes though. So with that, it's the fight phase coming up next. Opening now with Uraeus, Karnak. We thought you'd want to see this combat. Incidentally, the Rhino did indeed crush one under its tracks. One of those Acolytes is slain. But let's now get on with Uraeus against the Genome.
Okay, so we've got 4 attacks hitting on 2s with his 4 stave.
Okay, so that's 3 hits. He'll be wounding on 2s.
Yep.
And the minus, sir?
Minus is 2.
Minus 2.
No, it's not. Minus 1.
Minus 1. Yep. Okay, so they do get 5+ saves with their carapace armor. He does crack one across the skull. He is killed.
I've got the blades from the disc as well.
Okay.
2s again. Cool.
Hits.
And then strength 4 this time, so 3s. Another wound.
That's another wound. Okay.
No AP.
Can another trooper survive? He can. Very good. Okay, troopers survive well there. Looks like they will get to hit back. And then we go on over to this combat. Anutet against
Right,
squad.
so Anutet is strength 5 after the last mission.
Campaign experience, yes.
So wounding on 2s.
So he's hitting on
There's weapon
2s
skill.
first.
Sorry.
All hits.
Yep.
Then wounding on 2s.
Wounding on 2s, yep.
Because of the force stave that he has.
Yep.
3 wounds.
3 wounds.
Okay.
And this is at -1, yeah?
Minus 1, yeah.
Oh,
He kills 3 Anutet. Empowered with the dark energies of the warp. 3 of those troopers slain.
Oh, sorry, he has an additional attack as well because of the campaign strength, toughness, and attacks.
Ah, yes, good point. Okay.
So one more 8 on 2s?
No, it's a miss. Okay.
Serves right for forgetting.
So that's 1,000 suns struck now. The genome will get to strike back. Who are we going to hit with first?
Give me a sec.
Okay. Troopers surround Uraeus here. Can they bring the eye down?
So 4 attacks because of the chainsword. 5 attacks because of the chainsword.
Yes.
Okay.
2 hits.
Wait. Because of the last mission, and he gets his Reader of Fate ability, rolls of a 6 to hit have to be re-rolled.
That's very true. Campaign experience.
Oh,
and he rolled a
again?
6 anyway. Oh, extraordinary. Okay.
Yes, die! 5s.
That is 1 wound. Okay. Uraeus wounded by one of the troopers here. Or will he be?
The commander with his chainsword.
Does he get all his dust?
He doesn't.
He doesn't. Right.
Does not.
Okay.
So 3. Oh no, takes a wound.
No, takes a wound.
Unless roll a 6.
No, okay, Dark Fortitude not saving him there. So he takes a wound, he's got 5 left.
Very
Okay,
cool.
and then we move on over here. These troopers will have to consolidate in. We'll come back to you after that. Now for the troopers against Anutet. Can he be wounded? Let's find out.
7 attacks. 3 hits. 2
wounds.
3 up save.
Yes.
Both saved. Anutet. Okay, and now for the Reaper himself. Slade.
Just want to check how many attacks I've got.
Hector Slade with his Power Fist. The relic that we've given him, remember these guys count as special characters in this campaign.
I didn't know he had a power fist.
Means that he ignores the -1 to hit with his Power Fist. He's killed many.
Unfortunately, because of my campaign rules.
That's right. Field surgery.
Yeah.
He was badly wounded in the last mission. And unfortunately he does now have a -1 to hit for just this mission. So it does mean that the Power Fist goes back to being normal in this instance. Can he score the hits he needs? Let's find out. Here we go. Slade attacks Anutet. Clash of characters here in Ghostmaker. To hit the -1, he needs 4s. He hits twice.
Hey.
2 hits. He is strength 6, meaning he wounds the Chaos Marine on 3s. He's wounded the Ancient Thousand Sun Sorcerer twice at -3, meaning 6s are required to survive here, but he does have an invulnerable save, so actually it becomes 4s, the Sigil of Corruption. 1 goes through. Slade's taking first blood in this character fight. D3 damage. Hits the big 3. Slade smashes Anutet in his face, almost buckling him from his Disc of Zinch. He is still standing, but Slade looks at him and is ready to finish it. That marks the end of the turn, and due to morale, one of these troopers has fallen back from the wrath of Uraeus. An interesting turn, and the pressure is on. The characters of Ghostmaker now in combat, right at the forefront of this battle, as we like to see it. 1,000 Suns themselves, still relatively speaking, 3 fresh units about to get into the front line deployment zone. What will happen? Let's find out. It's 1,000 Suns. No, it's Tempestus. Turn 3 coming up next. Tempestus turn 3, movement complete. The ferryman moves towards the breach in the walls here. Well, although one of the walls has collapsed entirely, he's standing where the gates used to be, looking down at the 1,000 Suns automatons beneath him. Meanwhile, Slade orders his troops to fall back and then issues get back in the fight. This unit is ready to light up Anutet himself. Dangerous times. Meanwhile, over here, Barrett has also issued the same order to these troopers who have fallen back from Uraeus Karnak. Over here, 2 melter guns have moved in on the Rhino. Sevatar, Malachi, and his agent of death, the Calexis assassin, have moved towards Uraeus. Could the Endonian Genome create defense, a last line defense here to push the 1,000 Suns back before they breach deeper into enemy territory? Let's find out. There will be a psychic phase, albeit brief, coming up next. Well, the psychic phase is over and we're actually in the shooting phase, but we thought we would open up with this. Uraeus, or rather Sevatar, failed to cast Smite, rolled a 4. However, his Calexis Assassin, he sets upon Uraeus and he opens with his Animus Speculum. So, talk us through it.
So, he's got something called Psychic Assassin. So this model can target a character that is a Psyker, even if it is not the closest enemy unit.
Yep.
In addition, this model can make an attack with a Psych Out grenade in the same shooting phase that it uses the Animus Speculum, but I'm not in range with that right now.
Okay.
Also, if the Psychers are within 18, this gun becomes a D6 weapon instead of D3.
Right, and so he is. So D6.
D6 shots.
3 shots against Uraeus here.
Cool, so hitting on 2s.
He hits 3 times.
Okay. 3's to wound. Unless what is he? Is he toughness 5 or 4?
He is toughness 4.
Okay, so 3's to wound.
2 wounds.
At -4.
So that means straight to the Sigil of Corruption here.
Yep, 4 up in 1.
Oh, he makes both. Uraeus stands strong. So we are in the shooting phase now. We'll let him do his shooting and then we'll get back to you at the end of it. We are mid-shooting phase here, and Slade, who's fell back and issued the order here to get back in the fight, they overcharge their plasma. We thought you'd have to see this surely. And they fire at Anutet, so the risk of them perishing is possible. So we'll have to do this one at a time.
Yeah, so I roll two
shots at a time because they are in rapid fire range. Right, one's a miss, one's a hit, but no death. Second plasma gunner hits both times. That's 3 hits on Anutet so far. Third plasma gunner hits both times. That's 5 hits. The fourth plasma gunner does die. He dies in the end, but does get a hit before he dies. So 6 hits on Anutet. Strength 8, wounding him on 2s now, except he's wounding him on 3s because he has got campaign experience. So 2 fail, but 4 go through. And the minus is
3.
Right, so the Sigil of Corruption here. Otherwise he's taking 2 damage every time. Anutet fails 2. He's lost 4 wounds. He's already lost 3 from Slade. Anutet is blown off of his Disc of Tzeentch. We do not know if he will live in this campaign. He will have to roll on the injury table at the end of it, but the plasma brings him down. Slade keeps his troops in line, and this is a small victory for the Endonian Genome. Now we have this unit under the command of Jonas Barrett. Also overcharging, there are 2 plasma rifles there, firing into Uraeus, Karnek, 2 at a time. He's killed and missed. Okay, the second plasma gunner does hit twice.
And now he will be wounding on 2s, right? Because he's toughness 4.
That's right, that's correct. 1 wound, -3, Sigil of Corruption. Does that kick in? A 4+ invulnerable save. He does survive. Uraeus, clearly the leader here between the 2 exalted sorcerers. And that's it. That's the end of the shooting phase. Anutet potentially slain the campaign. Believe it or not, the Reaper whiffing completely. Only 5 rounds from his rapid fire battle cannon. Then failed to hit with most of them. Then failed to wound. And the one that went through was saved by one of the 1,000 Suns beneath him. Melter Gun also failed to wound after getting a hit. Stubber pinging harmlessly off the automaton's armour. You saw what happened over here, of course. Uraeus surviving. And the 2 melter guns here also rolling 2 2s. Failed to get their mark against that Rhino, despite having reroll 1s to hit. That's the end of the shooting phase. It will be the charge phase coming up next. Will there be any charges declared?
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's get on with it. It's coming up next. Well, the charge phase has just been completed, and actually the Reaper, the Ferryman rather, has been taken down to 16 wounds. Despite needing 6s to wounds, those Warp Flamers getting the auto hits against him when he charged the 2,000 Suns units were quite effective. Meanwhile over here, Uraeus has been charged by Barrett, and over here Sevatar has charged the Rhino. So that's it. We're going to go straight into the fight phase for you now, and we're going to film this. We're opening with the ferryman himself.
So he's going to use his Titanic feat.
Okay.
I'm going to split it. He gets 12 attacks. I'm going to put 5 into the 4-man squad.
Yep.
And then I'm going to put 7 into the 5-man squad.
Understood.
So with a bit of luck, I can wipe them both.
Okay.
So 3s now. Not the luck I was looking for.
No, 2 hits, and he can't re-roll the 1s because he's not using the relic.
Nope.
Okay. It is still 2s to wound. 1 wound
wow.
and -2, so you will get a save against this. Wow, okay, so only one Marine killed here. That is interesting. Keeps the units alive. Okay, next.
Wow.
Wow,
no,
okay,
it's
so it's not as bad, but 5 hits. He does wound on 2s against his fresh units. He gets 4 wounds, but again, they do get 5+ saves here. And they do save one of them, so 3,000 Suns have been killed. But actually, he's still got 3 units. And they are able to get deeper within the lines here, potentially fall back. A combination of smite and las cannon fire does make the ferryman exceptionally vulnerable next turn. Okay, well,
this is like a set of scales that
it
someone
is
drastically putting different weights on.
Very interesting every step of the way here. Okay, who are we attacking with next? Is it Barrett's?
Yes.
Barrett strikes. He's been known to kill many with his special
He's Reaver Blade. 3
Blade.
hits.
3 hits. Okay.
Okay,
Now, it is strength 3. So he wounds on 5s, but it's -2. Special relic for Barrett. He gets a wound against Uraeus. Can Uraeus save Sigil of Corruption? Yes, he can.
That's a
the powers
shame.
of the Dark Gods deflect that blow, and that could mean Barrett's head. We'll have to find out. Finally, we have Sevatar against the Rhino.
So 4s.
Hitting here, he hits 3 times. He still wounds on 5s though, because of the toughness 7. He does get 1 wound. It's a save of 5 or 6, I should say. No, it's a 1, so D3 damage. That is also a 1, so that makes it 8 wounds left on the Rhino. And the tides yet again turn. Whilst Anutet has been felled, the Tempestus, the Endonian Genome, can they survive the retaliation? We'll let those 1,000 Suns strike back, and then we will come back to you for Uraeus versus Barrett. It's official. One of these 1,000 Suns actually did damage the ferryman and knocked him down to 15 wounds now, meaning that he is degraded. Meanwhile, over here, Uraeus against Barrett. Who will be the victor? Uraeus.
So 4 attacks, hitting on 2s.
He hits with 3.
We're looking at strength 6, so winning on 2s.
Yep. That is 3 wounds, and it's -1.
Yep.
Barrett needs to save on 5s and 6s here. Barrett! He doesn't... Oh no! And the damage, sir.
D3.
It's 3d3 damage. Could we have Barrett felled by Uraeus?
Yeah.
He's felled! Uraeus claims this flank, while Slade claims this one. This is quite the game. And whilst the 1,000 Suns aren't technically claiming many victory points yet, it appears that the tide is about to move forwards. Are there any morale checks required? No, none that you can fail actually, with the casualties that you lost. So in which case it is turn 4 for the 1,000 Suns. Coming up next, we're coming towards the end of the game. Can they claim the base on CM9? Movement phase complete. Turn 4 for the 1,000 Suns. We've seen the Predators move for the first time this game, 12 inches up. This Rhino advanced and has gone deep into enemy territory there. Meanwhile, these 2,000 Suns units at the foot, or feet I should say, of the ferryman have indeed fallen back deeper into enemy territory. Uraeus, leaving the broken body of Barrett there on the walls, has moved over here, away from the gaze of the Calexis assassin. Meanwhile, this 1,000 Suns unit didn't move at all. It's remained static where it is. So, with that done, it's the psychic phase coming up next. Let's see what he does. We're in the psychic phase and something vicious is being cast. Death Hex. The removal of invulnerable saves from the ferryman. Does need
an 8.
An 8. However, he gets +1 to his roll with the Eye of Karnak. He fails it.
No.
Oh no, 5, 6, 7. +1. He's done it on an 8. He's done it. Will Sevatar attempts to deny.
Yeah.
Oh no. Could take away the Ion Shield save of the ferryman. It could spell doom for the Tempestus line. For the Emperor! He rolls a 4. Even with a command reroll, it is extremely risky.
You have to get 6.
Or if yes, he'd have to get 6. He needs to beat you.
Well, I have to try.
He spends his last command points.
Well,
Sevatar
if he
Malachi.
falls, it's a problem.
Sevatar Malachi attempting to deny the powers of Uraeus Karnak. Will the eye be stopped?
Be
on the roll
gone, witch!
of a 6! Oh, he fails! The power goes off. The ion shields suddenly flicker out. The ferryman knows that he is vulnerable. This could spell doom for the Imperial. He then follows up with Smite. From Uraeus into the ferryman.
So if I get double 6 again for the 3rd time.
4, 5, 6. No, he doesn't get the double 6, but he has got Smite off. It is D3 mortal wounds, therefore, on the ferryman. It is the big 3. 12 wounds left on this war machine. We then have this unit over here that can still cast. That goes off on a 10, and that will be just a straight mortal wound, leaving him on 11 left. Therefore, it's the shooting phase coming up next. We're at the end of the shooting phase here. There's only one thing left to fire. It's the 2 predators. We've had some casualties. Uraeus killed one of the plasma gunners over here. Inferno Bolt of Fire from over here killed one of the melter guns. But other than that, that is it. It is now the las cannons with the -1 to hit, because they did move, don't forget, against the 11 wound war machine. Here we go. First predator. Hits 3 times. 6, a 5 and a 4, exactly what he wants. 3's to wound here. Ferryman in trouble. It is 666.
That's a roll.
Marked for death. Oh dear. It does mean with no invulnerable save, it's 6s to save the ferryman here. Can he do it? He rolls 2 5s, 1 goes off the boards. No, he's failed all 3. 3d6 damage. Could this be 6, 11, 12 wounds? He only had 11 left. The ferryman is destroyed. Does he blow up and at least take the 1,000 Suns with him? No, not quite. The ferryman drops. This is becoming a problem. That marks the end of the shooting phase. Now, Joe did forget to roll for the 1,000 Suns unit that was destroyed at the end of his movement phase. So we're just going to do that for you on camera now. On a 2 or more, right, it does come back in. And it has to be placed wholly within 6 inches of the attacker's battlefield edge. So basically, yeah, there he is. He's deploying it now. They wouldn't have been able to do anything in this particular turn anyway, but just so that you know, the automatons continue their advance against this installation. However, with las cannon fire from the 3rd and final predator, he did kill this melter gun and actually got a wound on this plasma gunner, but he rolled a 6 for his save because he's in cover there. So amazing, he did survive. That marks the end of the 1,000 Suns shooting phase. Will you be declaring any charges this turn? I don't know if you've got anything that can. These 2 fell back.
Range.
Nothing's in range. So that's it. End of 1,000 Suns, turn 4. The Endonian Genome literally hanging on by a thread here. Sevatar Malachi and, of course, the Colexus Assassin still present. Slade still present. A few troops still present. Will it be enough to stop them? Let's find out.
Of course
Turn
it will.
4 coming up next. This is the dying hours of the game. Of Mission 3. Both players can still win this. It is balancing on a knife edge. Remember, folks, the 1,000 Suns will only really win if they've got enough units in here. Currently, the Endonian Genome are on 5 victory points with the kills that they've achieved. The 1,000 Suns are on 1 point with First Blood. That is it. They'll get 1 point for units in here, and they'll get 2 points for units there, which currently, if that Rhino survives, which it looks like it might, that is worth 2 points. So movement wise, Slade has ordered the units to move up, and then he's also given them the benefit of re-rolling ones to shoot. This lone trooper, the hero that saw Barrett fall in front of him, has moved further up onto that ruin.
And he's got one re-roll ones to shoot because Malachi, because of his special rule, has given him that
campaign
as well.
experience of Malachi has given him the voice of command ability. So very, very cool. Okay, we're going to go straight into the psychic phase. We're just going to film this for you because at this point it is knife edge stuff.
Great. So smite.
Smite.
Oh, he's done
No,
it every
he
time!
fails. He's failed 2 times. He's failed 2 times to get the smite off. It's big. He could have done with that. The mortal wounds would have been very good. Nothing he can do. It is, therefore, the shooting phase coming up next. We're in the shooting phase. The Calexis Assassin opens with the Animus Speculum.
So D6 because I am within 18 of Psychers, and I can also throw my grenade at this.
Yes, you
as
can.
Well. So D6 shots.
D6 shots. 2 shots here against the Thousand Suns. 1 hit. Okay. Strength of the weapon.
5.
Okay, so it is 3 to wounds, and it is -4.
Oi.
Right, that is a kill. One of the Thousand Suns is obliterated, blown
Is that this
apart.
unit here?
Yeah. And then the
Grenade hits.
So it's only strength 2, but on the roll of a 6, it's a mortal wound. Yeah.
Okay.
So I need I need a 6. No.
No, doesn't get it. Does it do anything additionally against Psychers?
If it goes off.
If it goes off only.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, right, that is the Calexis Assassin. Who else is firing?
Let's do the melter.
Okay, into the same units.
Yeah. 4s.
That's a hit.
That's it.
Acolyte on points. Oh, it's a 6. He's definitely got the kill there. Thousand Sun is slain. Then have
The pistol.
pistol. It's just a normal lad's pistol,
That's a
this one.
miss.
It's a miss anyway.
Malachi will throw a grenade.
Grenade.
Maybe he can
Scimitar.
redeem himself.
He does hit. Crack grenades. He fails the wounds. Oh dear. Got one plasma gunner up here now.
Yep. So
And
into him.
Is he overcharging?
Oh yes.
Because he's got the reroll
He's got
ones.
the reroll
okay.
of ones.
Just as well with a double 1. Okay, can he hit? He gets the 2 hits. It's 2s to wounds. In fact, 1 wound on the roll of a 6, that aspiring sorcerer would survive here. Oh, denying the Endonian Genome. No, he does indeed kill the aspiring sorcerer. That is another victory point now for the Endonian Genome. Every unit destroyed is worth a point.
Okay, so now over here. So 3 plasma into these guys
So
here.
this unit firing through the broken gates here. Okay. They're also overcharging.
Oh yes.
They've all hit anyway.
Good.
It's 2s to wounds. It's 2 wounds. 6s are required to save here. No, and no, that's a second unit destroyed, so they have pulled it back just. 2 units of Thousand Suns destroyed there, leaving only 1 left, and only 1 unit deep in enemy territory. I have a feeling the Thousand Suns really need the game to go on to secure their placement deep in enemy territory here. We'll have to see. Will there be any charges being declared? Is the Calexis Assassin
I want, if he's in range, yes.
in range of Uraeus? Let's measure this now for you.
He would need a 12 to get within 1 inch. Yeah.
Right, but I have a feeling you can only declare a charge if you're within 12 anyway. Let's double check that. This is it. Turn 5 for the Thousand Suns. He's moved up with the Predators here. He's advanced this unit. He's moved this unit further forward. Uraeus Karnek has hovered up here onto the battlements, looking down at Slade and the troopers. And this Rhino has moved further into enemy territory. Dangerous times here, people. Very dangerous times. Will be a psychic phase coming up next. Let's see what he does. However, before that, let's roll to see the 2,000 Suns units that were destroyed if reinforcements arrive on a 2-up. One does, both do. So that means another 2 units will be deployed within 6 inches of the battlefield edge here. Frankly, unless the game goes on to turn 7, they probably won't get much of a look in, but we must roll for it anyway because that is the mission rules. So whilst he deploys those, I wonder, can the 1,000 Suns do it? I have a feeling that they'll need the game to go on to turn 6. That way they could get the Predators deep in enemy territory. But it's not a guarantee. Let's see what happens. We're in the psychic phase. Now Smite, technically, because he's on the building here, it's the nearest enemy unit. Smite would be actually hitting this fortification. He doesn't want to waste that, so what he's doing is inches Firestorm down on this unit here. See if Uraeus can cast the power. What is the number to cast?
7.
It is 7, so it does go off because of the +1 from the Eye of Karnak. But he might get it denied by Sevatar Malachi. Needs an 8.
Oh, he finally
He gets
did
an
something.
11.
Finally did
Sevatar
something.
denies Uraeus his power. We then have this unit. They can't really cast Smite because it would only hit the fortification. They can cast it for a single point of damage if he wants. But I believe Mr. Beard doesn't want to risk any perils. So in which case we go straight onto the shooting phase. So here we go. 1,000 Suns here opening up against the 2 Acolytes. Rolling to hit.
Hit.
That is 2 wounds.
Is there a minus on the bolters?
Minus 2, and they've
They're
only got
dead.
5 up save, so he has killed the Acolytes there. Removed the melter gun to boot as well.
These bolters back here are in range of him.
Of course, the lone plasma gunner up here. So reinforcements just starting to get into range. That's 3 hits. That's 2 wounds. He is in cover, so he'll get 5 up saves. No, he's dead. Okay. Genome troopers are starting to fall here, and we've still got 2 predators to fire. What are the predators firing?
Did these guys advance?
They did advance.
So put him
back. They cannot
Sorry.
fire. Okay,
Sorry.
so they're put back there. What are the predators firing at?
Predators. Well, now one of them have to fire him.
Are you firing? Well, yes, because he's the nearest target. So yeah, okay.
They can't see that unit, I don't think. No. So yeah,
So
4
one
las
predator
cannons.
at the lone plasma gunner.
They
pushing
hate him.
the issue. That is 3 hits.
Only
Only 1 wound.
Wow.
If he rolls a 6 here, because he's in cover, he would survive. He would be a hero.
No.
Oh no, he's got a 3, he is dead. Okay, now the second predator, the nearest model is the Calexus.
Yep.
So the Calexus assassin here.
You can have a punch on your 6s if you like, mate.
The only thing I can shoot that.
Okay, Calexus assassin.
Yep.
6s to hits. No, he misses with all of them. The psychic blank continues.
Last
Uraeus.
thing, just the Rhino.
The Rhino, of course. Combi bolter into the infantry.
1 hit.
1 hit. It's a wound. Can he save? Carapace armor, yes. Nice on a 6. The genome still stands.
And then his pistol.
Uraeus pistol down into the infantry. That is a hit. That is a failed wound. Will there be any charges this turn?
Yes.
Who is declaring a charge?
Uraeus into the squad.
Okay, Uraeus into the squad.
But also, this squad's going to charge in first.
Okay, fine. So this squad now charges in here, which will also afford them some extra movement if they do make it.
Am I within... Yeah, I'll be within 12 of those guys. Cool, just give me... So, Plasma.
Plasma.
2
Right,
hits.
2 hits. Now they were overcharging, but they can re-roll...
No, it's
a different phase, so that's absolutely fine. Good points, yes. Okay, so to wounds now. That is 2 wounds, very good. And
minus
then
3.
it's 6s to save.
Yeah.
No, okay, well that would actually kill 2 of the 1,000 Suns on the way in, rather incredibly.
And then 2 of the pistols.
That's another hit.
That's
That's
wound.
another
Oh my
wound.
God.
That's 2.
But it is a save this time on a 6. Okay, now do the Thousand Suns make it? Is the question.
I need a 9.
4, 5, 6. No, that is a failed charge. They will not make it. We then have Uraeus Karnak. Will he be charging?
Yes.
Okay, he's going to charge. Looks like he needs about 7 to get down there. Okay. That's
2
another
hits
2
with
hits with plasma here under the command of Slade. That's one wound. 1 wound. Sigil of Corruption. He is corrupt on a 6.
So hard
every
with
time with him. He survives.
Pistols.
Pistols?
No.
No. Can Uraeus make the charge? Oh, he can on an 11. Oh, yes, he can. We're in the fight phase. Let's do this. Uraeus Karnak against the troopers.
Please.
Will he kill them before looking up at Slade to issue the final challenge? He does get 3 of them at -1, so they'll need 5s and 6s to survive here. Oh, 2 of them do. Nice. Good effort. 1 is smashed down. We then have the disc itself that will attack.
Yep.
Is a hit to wound. Is a wound. Another save required. 4 or more. No. So another trooper is slain in that combat. That marks the end of the turn. We did the attacks back. One of them actually went through, but his armour did protect him. It would be Tempestus turn 5 next. They have 3 plasma gunners left. Slade, no doubt, talking through the Vox, asking for air support, reinforcement to come in as soon as possible. But they have just held the line. In fact, there's only 1 unit currently, 2 units in fact, that are within enemy deployment zones. Which means that if the game were to end at turn 5, actually the Thousand Suns would lose. For the genome have held the fortification long enough. Very, very interesting. Let's have them play out their turn 5 and then we'll roll to see if the game continues. This is it, a turn 5 summary. Troopers have been ordered to fall back. An order has been issued to get them back in the fight so that they can still open up with their plasma. Meanwhile, the Calexis Assassin and Sevatar Malachi move towards this Thousand Suns unit, and we're going straight into the psychic phase.
Smite.
Sevatar.
Okay, come on, buddy.
Smites. He does get it off
I saw the one. I saw the one.
But he can be denied.
At a -2.
Yes, because of the presence of the Calexis Assassin. 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it will be a failed attempt to deny due to the Calexis Assassin.
Even if I do it with him?
Yes, because
he's +1.
He's he's only +1 to cast, not deny, with his special Eye of Karnak.
Oh, okay.
So here we go.
It could wipe the unit here.
It is possible. D3 mortal wounds here.
Not with
Just
that
the
roll.
1. So one of the Thousand Suns is killed, leaving the aspiring sorcerer and the warp flamer still alive. We then go straight into the shooting phase. Why not?
Cool.
There's not much to shoot.
So I'm overcharging.
He's overcharging
Of course he is.
against Uraeus Karnak. These 3 plasma gunners, will they bring him down? Slade barking the order.
Cool, we've got to do these 2 at a time.
2 at a time.
2
Hits
hits.
twice. Hits twice. Oh, 5 hits and doesn't kill any either with overcharging. It's 2s to wound Uraeus here. He's got 4 wounds. This is starting to look very interesting. Will the Sigil of Corruption save him? He has been very successful with these saves every single turn this game. 4s or more required. He fails 3. That's 2, 4, 6 wounds. However, his Dark Fortitude could still save him. He needs to get... He's lost 6 wounds. He needs to get 2 6s to deny this and stay alive. Oh my goodness. Attention on the battlefields! Oh, he fails to do it! No! He fails to do it. Uraeus Karnak is toppled from his disc, falling at the feet of Slade.
Who piles him up right next to his second in command.
Oh no! Incredible events here. A massive victory for the forces of the Imperium as they just scored slay the Warlord. Calexis Assassin now, the Animus Speculum against the Thousand Suns.
So D6
troopers.
shots, 3 again. Come on!
To hit 2s. All 3 hit.
2 wounds, it'll be 3s. 2 wounds.
2
at
wounds
-4.
at -4. That means he's got no save. Both of them are slain. That was a significant turn. For the Thousand Suns have been all but obliterated in the enemy deployment zone. Their commanders felled, and in fact, now the forces of the Imperium are on 10 points, including the Warlord point, whereas currently the Thousand Suns are on First Blood for 1 point, and if the game ends now, 2 points for 1 unit deep in enemy territory. It would be 10 points to 3. But the question is, does the game continue? So
who rolls?
The Thousand Suns player rolls here.
I roll.
Oh, sorry, forgive me, the Imperial player rolls. So, Sevatar Malachi, does the game end on a 1 or 2 and the Imperial forces claim victory here despite the battering that they have taken? They do! The Imperial forces hold down to almost literally the last man. The Inquisition survive. And at this point, we don't know what happens. Perhaps reinforcements suddenly arrive, stopping the oncoming tide. You'll have to tune in over on Tabletop Tactics On Demand to find out what happens in Mission 4. But before that, we have had several characters fall. Barrett, Anutet, and of course, Uraeus himself. They must roll on the injury table, whilst the others must roll on the experience table. First up, we will roll for Uraeus Karnak himself. On the injury table here, what happens to him?
So the 10s.
10's 30. 5, 35.
Lingering damage. Even your enhanced Astartes form is liable to break, even if only for a moment. Oh, roll a further d6.
Okay.
6. I am -1 toughness for the duration of the next game.
Down to toughness 3. The wounds were severe, but he is alive, so perhaps he escaped somehow. We'll have to find out on Mission 4 what happens. That is Uraeus Karnak. And now for Anutet Hazik himself, can he survive? 30 again. 32 here on the campaign experience table.
Same thing, lingering damage.
So a further d6.
-1 toughness again, so he's back to his normal toughness of 4.
Right, interesting. Okay, so both of them do survive, although they will show their wounds in the next game. And now for Jonas Barrett. He's a hero to the troopers of the Endonian Genome. His loss would be severe to morale. Does he survive? It's a 20. Oh no.
10 point.
Okay, you could, but unfortunately they've all been spent. Okay, 20, and the next result, 2. 22 here.
Shaken command. Whilst physically you are recovering, your brush with death has caused you to withdraw in your duties and leadership. Reduce the range of any aura, ability or special the character has by -3 to a minimum of 1 for the rest of the campaign.
Barrett severely wounded there on the walls. It is a shame what happened to him, but it appears that they have a lasting effect on his psyche in this universe. Now for experience points for Sevatar Malachi. Slade sadly does not get to roll on the table because he didn't actually kill a model. He did some damage to Anutet, but he didn't kill a model. So therefore he doesn't get to roll on the experience. However, Sevatar does, for he killed those Terminators, the Scarab Occult Terminators. Here we go. The experience is a d6 table here, rolling on the campaign data slates 20, or a 2 rather. What is that result?
So that is Disdainful Fury. Your superiority in combat only elevates you further above lesser races. Roll a further d6.
5.
So on a 5, for the rest of the campaign, you are a +1 strength.
Interesting, because that actually would make Sevatar's Power Fist strength 8.
Oh, 8.
Oh no, of course, the
7.
plus... no, I think the +1 we count as just a permanent stat upgrade, so it makes his base strength 4. So he would count as strength 8 in combat now. It is actually a significant experience upgrade there. Sevatar Malachi proving himself a very insidious power in Ghostmaker. And so it is that the Imperial forces hold just long enough to prevent the Thousand Suns from penetrating deep into their territory. But what happens next? Let's find out. And don't forget, you can tune in to tabletoptactics.tv for Mission 4 over and on demand to continue this epic story.
This Inquisitor is proving more troublesome than I thought.
Indeed. Yet the destruction of their fortification will not allow them to hold much longer. We will await reinforcement from the Anubis and push through to Site 3. As planned.
And yet, they were able to stall us. Malachi will pay for his impertinence. When we next meet, I will crack his soul and shatter it into the warp. He will be feasted upon until his very essence is naught but memory.
We do not have time to indulge your personal vendettas, Uraeus. With both the Aeldari and Imperial forces in retreat, we are on task to fulfilling the objectives you promised.
I am aware of our mission, Anutet. Was it not I that laid it out? Was it not I that found the portals? I will open them and lay bare the secrets of the Black Library. Then we will see whose favor is carried by the Primarch.